Hi, welcome to a God Vlog. Thank you for joining me here today. You know, Jesus has a whole different way that he created and led than the way that many people today claim or think he created and led. Jesus' way was not about judgment. It was not about exclusion or elitism or hate. Jesus' way was, and it still is, about non-judgment, inclusivity, egalitarianism, and love. Jesus of the Gospels wasn't about judging and excluding. He wasn't about working to deny rights to those who are different, nor was he about supporting the powerful who ignore or abuse the weak or the poor. Jesus of the Gospels thought and taught that people should be created equally and that we must aim for peace through nonviolence. Aim for peace through nonviolence. Those are Jesus' teachings. And he taught that we must relate to one another with love. That's the bottom line. We've got to relate to one another with love. And Jesus was arrested, and he was tried and convicted and killed because of those teachings. Well, we don't like to think of Jesus as a rebellious criminal. It's scandalous, and we may not want to hear it. We may not like it, but Jesus was, in one respect, like the two men on the crosses with him. All three were rebels, and they were criminals under Roman law. There's no getting around that. We could try and spin the story, but scholars are convinced Jesus committed crimes on his way of love and peace. And John Deere, in his book, The Sacrament of Civil Disobedience, puts it just beautifully. He writes, Jesus was a peacemaker who time and time again broke the laws that oppressed people and kept them like slaves to injustice. Jesus was not just provocative. His actions were illegal, civil disobedient, and divinely obedient. I love that part. Civilly disobedient and divinely obedient. And Mahatma Gandhi wrote that Jesus was the most active resistor known perhaps to history. This was nonviolence par excellence. And there's a Facebook post going around that you might have seen that has a picture of Jesus, and it says the most effective activist in the history of the world was Yeshua of Nazareth. And it's true, Jesus was a rebel, and he was effective at it. He really was. He was a gung-ho radical about love and peace and God. And one of the coolest things Jesus did was challenge the inequities of the Roman Empire by flipping a very exclusive Roman meal tradition on its head. The tradition only allowed the connected to attend elite banquets, and so Jesus started a new kind of banquet, one with all the barriers knocked down, all of them knocked down, one where everyone gets to sit at the table. All are invited. And consequently, all manner of people got fed and brought into the community. There are and there were no expendables on Jesus' way. All were and are loved and matter much to Jesus and his God and his community. And our communion table of bread and drink today can be understood as a reenactment of Jesus' open table, as we also hold up and recall that he gave his flesh and blood for us, leading a revolution and a rebellion of love, non-violence, aimed toward peace with that very table. His body was broken for us, and his blood was spilled because he dared to bring a new sort of love into our lives and into the world, a love for all, no strings attached. And that love has never stopped vibrating. And communion is a very visible sign and a very tactile remembrance, and the tasting and the smell and the touching, a very, very tactile remembrance of Jesus and his radical rebellion against inequality, and best of all, his radical love for all, and his radical God who loves all steadfastly forever. No strings attached, unconditionally. That's how radical Jesus God is, and that's the way he was teaching. Walked around practicing, preaching, teaching, and doing this open love for everybody thing. It was quite an amazing and beautiful thing, and it still is today. So we can see communion as a radical act, and done right, we can see Christian love as a radical act. And followers of Jesus, like Jesus, must aim today still to be radical in love. Thank you for joining me. My name is Reverend Scott Elliott. I'm the pastor at Riviera United Church of Christ. Go in peace, knowing that you're loved and that you matter much.